Welcome and good evening from Germany. So we are happy to have you here today. And I'm Detlef Arden, and I would like to introduce my colleague Stefan Lehmann and also our esteemed partner Microbiz, as well as its representative Robin Montens. And we are also lucky to have our colleague Anne-Kathrin with us today, and to make sure everything runs smoothly in this webinar. She's going to be keeping an eye on the chat area, and so please feel free to ask her any questions you may have. And that brings us to the organizational side of the things, which we are really excited to get started on. So, Anne-Kathrin, we would love for you to keep us all informed about the organization.
Yes, thank you, Detlef. So just two short organizational notes from my side. We are recording this webinar, so if you do not agree, we will have to ask you to leave this webinar, and you are welcome to submit your questions in the chat, and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. And that's all from my side, Detlef. So back to you, and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you, Anne-Kathrin. A little bit information about Stefan, about Robin, and also myself. Stefan and I have been working together for many years, helping with the technical servicing of systems, machines, technical products, and all the related processes around this. And we both come from a technical background, which makes us a great team. And Stefan is a graduate engineer and has already worked on software solutions for large and complex power plants. I have an electrical engineering background and even still have a lot to do with technologies and maintenance also in my free time, as I'm a private pilot, and so I have to do a lot of technology skills in my what both of us are motivated by every day is the question, where could we do an even better job of servicing, maintaining, repairing, or even installing systems? Robin Montens has a similar motivation. He wants to provide assistance by breaking open old walls, by reviewing and rethinking processes, everything to solve the challenges in the best possible way. His extensive experience in many such projects helps him, and of course, above all, his customers. So, and now, it works. Our agenda for today. As you know, we at all4cloud are a German company, so my welcome was good evening. And many companies in Germany are struggling with an intense lack of skilled workers. This is certainly, I think, it's certainly not only the case in Germany, it may also be the case in your country. I'm not sure, but I thought about. The challenges this brings are huge. Your company should grow and not slow down. Your company wants to accept new service orders and not to have to turn them down. And we would like to make a small effort today to help you achieve this. And what I learned again on Monday last week from one of our customer is, if you do service right and make the processes efficient, you can generate good, very good profits from service. And these were the words of a machinery factory or manufacturer who had established his service as an additional revenue generator in their company. And you, or almost of you in this webinar, are already using, let me say, an innovative ERP system. And this ERP, called SAP Business ByDesign, offers you many opportunities to meet your service challenges. And we only need to supplement it a little bit and make it fitter for this. In this event, practical part, we will be using a fictional company. And Stefan and Robin will demonstrate a tried and test service process in the block of 2. Yeah, last but not least, the second part of our webinar, let us answer your questions. Feel free to use the chat in this webinar to ask your questions, and then we will discuss it after the presentation of Stefan and Robin. Let's be real. Processes are, I think, and what we got from a lot of customers and what we got from a lot of projects, are a challenge. Some may think the processes that have been established over the years are fine. They have been developed from practical experience, and indeed they are. I hear this all the time in my conversations and discussions. A recent example is as follows from one of our customers. Mr. Eden, our service department needs to be brought up to date with the IT technology. And we have prepared a list of questions and requirements for you. I always think it's best to be prepared. And I was then asked to confirm whether our solution could meet the requirements. And everything is on track. But when I asked what was the basis, the fundament for your requirements, they told me, well, we have analyzed our processes and then defined the requirements based on that. And it became clear to me that the opportunity for change and improvement was not being taken. I will be frank, you should consider the following tip. You need an expert who isn't employed by your company. This expert will help you avoid putting old wine into a newly designed, modern looking bottle. I hope you have a picture in your mind about this. Learn from other companies that are improving their services. Webinars like today's are an excellent source of information. And finally, one thing is for sure, IT solutions are constantly changing. Keep an eye on which technologies are being replaced. And this way, you can be sure you are not wasting your time on outdated solutions. The days of updates via floppy disk, CDs, or DVDs are long gone. And today, people no longer buy solutions, they consume solutions, and that's what they need. Not and but yeah, watch out for your data. I wouldn't trust just any. I would not trust just any cloud provider. So take a good look on the partner which you work. I have more tips, but I will save those for another time. Feel free to contact me directly, and yeah, I'm also happy, and Stefan and Robin, to be your sparring partner. And now for the, let me say, instructing of the practical part, Stefan will show how services are prepared and scheduled in the ERP. And these are then handed over to the dispatcher. Today, Robin is taking on this role, who then takes over resource planning with the help of a graphical digital planning board. The orders are then scheduled and distributed to the technicians who carry out the service order with the help of a mobile app. After the technician has reported back, the invoices are then created manually or automatically in the ERP system. And all of these without cut and paste. All processes mesh with each other. Information is not lost. Information is one-to-one, match everywhere and unmistakable. For our presentation, we have founded a company to illustrate this point, what I have described. It's a pure fiction, of course. Yeah, Almica is a company that offers technical services on site. Almica's customers are mainly companies in Germany, but can also companies in the UK, in Spain, in the United States, or whatever. And Almica is reliable and delivers on time. The company offers its customers a wide range of services. Almica's field service technicians are the best in the business when it comes to laser cutting systems and metal presses. All three Almica service teams are experts in different areas. So we can always put together a coordinated team for the service call. In addition to inspections, revisions, and preventive maintenance, Almica also offers cleaning of lens units and also their calibration. We are also on site quickly in the event of any emergency. And now I will hand over to Stefan and Robin. Stefan, Robin, let's start.
Yeah, thank you, Detlef, for the introduction. I've shared my screen with you, and you now see the ERP system, SAP Business ByDesign. I would like to do a quick recap on the scenario that Robin and I will show you today and on what topics we are focusing today. So the business case is that we are executing on-site cleaning, inspection, calibration, and other services at laser cutting machines and metal presses. And typical professional service providers, or also companies who are using these processes only as pure in-house maintenance processes, are facing challenges. And these challenges, or the main three challenges I would like to mention now. The first is that the service order has to be created on time. And if you have a maintenance contract closed with your customer, then of course the service order in the system has to be compliant with with your contract's obligations. That is the first challenge. And the second challenge is, once you have the service order and you know at which time, with which resources or which skills and spare parts you have to be at a certain customer location, then there comes the planning challenge. And the planning challenge is the one that we are covering today. This is the most important focus for today. Planning in this regard means planning of human resources. We keep planning of materials a bit outside because it's much easier. Human resources are much more complex because they are more flexible. There could be illness, there could be absences. There is necessary to schedule and reschedule everything in short time. So this is our main focus for today. And we will show you how this works by means of a very smart graphical planning table. And the third challenge I would like to mention is the assignment of the technicians, or after the technician is assigned, to give him the necessary workload on his mobile device, so that the technician can see on his mobile device which are the service orders that are dedicated to him or to his team, and that he can also enter and confirm what he has done on his mobile device. And if all the systems work optimally, it is also working in offline scenarios. So these are the main three challenges that we face, focusing on the HR part of the planning human resources. So I will start with showing you how to generate appropriate service orders according to contractual obligations. And what we do in the system is we use a module called preventive measures for that. In this case, I have prepared our example here for weekly inspection and calibration of certain machines, like laser cutting machines. And we see this scheduling here, this weekly rhythm, which is coming from the contract's obligations. And we see here the machines that have to be serviced by our company. And here we see an artifact called service order template. And in this service order template, if I double click in here, we see the details. We manage all the services and spare parts and all the documentary stuff, for example, a drawing or an instruction manual, how to do this service, say in a template. And this template is waked up by background services in the system, so there is no user interaction necessary. Once it is configured and released, the system works automatically in the background to create a list of dates out of this template. And these dates, we call them service tasks. They give you the option to have a preview long way into the future. So planning is often divided in checking the faraway future, say for a general workload, checking the midterm planning section, say the next 4 weeks, for example, for having the materials and spare parts there on time when you need it or on your service van. And the near-term future, which we are talking today, is more the next week or the next 2-week perspective, where we are really assigning necessary human resources to the service orders. And this list gives you a perspective of looking into the future. And if you go down the line, we see here there are numbers occurring representing the generated service orders. So what lies in the near future is then transformed into a real service order. And the service order is an executable thing. So if the service order is well planned, it has all the things that were stored in the template. So materials, services, necessary checklists, necessary safety precautions, text documentation, everything is there in the service order. But what is not there is who has to execute the service order when the date comes due, when the date is due in the next week, for example. And for this, we have a good solution. This is typically a weakness point of ERP systems. So ERP systems are focusing on having these service order and having all that purchasing part integrated and contractual part integrated. But the weakness often is to do that granular planning. And therefore, we work together with our colleagues from Microbiz. Microbiz is a very powerful tool and has these options to do graphical planning and has these options to integrate with HR tools and multiple other things. Our way of working here is when the service orders are released to execution, and that is in the near-term time frame, an automatic thing. Then they are transported automatically via an integration into the Microbiz system, and there they pop up as tasks. And now it is up to the planner section to look after these tasks and to assign appropriate resources. And that is the point in time where I would like to hand over to my colleague Robin, who shows you up all these service orders that I have generated by our module here, how they look like in the system of Microbiz in the planning table, and how he can easily assign appropriate resources with respect to certain skill levels or other criteria that he needs. Now it's up to you, Robin.
Thank you, Stefan, and also, of course, Detlef for announcing. And from my side, also a warm welcome. And I would like to show you how dispatcher right now goes along and moves all these tasks to the right place. And of course, then gives all the information that the technical employees in the field need to fulfill the task and put informations like time registration, product use, and also forms and documentations back to the system, back to SAP. And therefore, you can see right now my screen, and you can see the dispatching view of the Amica Hannover, where the week is already fully loaded. And just to give you an idea how the tasks are popping in here, I will just show you first the manual way, because I would like to have something to show you directly, but I will also have a comment on how the task will move in automatically, because a fully week then probably also for more than these few employees will of course be not motivated in taking care of them manually. But first of all, when we have Babette here, for example, and she would tell us today that she is not able to work, and I have got just to move this task around and probably put it to an open gap here at Leon Jäger. This is, of course, something that is able to be done quite easily, but also a task with restrictions like the one I'm just taking here from the ones that are still waiting for planning, could have restrictions like competencies, special demands for the employees or for the customers. And therefore, you could see right now that only Björn, Gesine, and Luis have the right restrictions to fulfill that one, and I can easily put it where it belongs. And right now, this is the one that we will take care on for a later stage. So you can already have that in mind. This one going for the Mebis GmbH will be the one that we will take care on later. Before we do so, I, of course, would like to give you the impressions how the automatic fulfillment is done. And therefore, I just switch shortly to the route planning module. So here you could see in the example of 3 employees here how the different tasks are processed with the map of Amica Hannover. And also if you see here the lane down to the south, we can just easily see why somebody should just go a little bit further. And this is the reason that here in this case there is a 3-part task that is fulfilled a little bit more in the south. You can see that by zip code. And of course, also from here, you could also move things manually where they should be. But this will be probably part of a second webinar where we have a deep dive into the route planning. If something pops up automatically directly from SAP, we automatically process it. If something is then on the plan directly on the phone because somebody has got to replan, reschedule the task, of course, a new suggestion could be done also quite easily directly in the route planner. back to the result where we already were. Right now, we want to see how a specific task, and that is what I have already told you, could be processed. From here, you can also see that if I swipe over the different tasks with the mouse overview, you can easily see informations about the task that could be needed. The ones that you can see here, of course, could be selected individually. So right now, we just open a task that we have just put it to the employee Leon Jäger here. And there you can also see that the GPS location from this task is already settled, and he knows exactly where to drive and what should be done here at this customer. Also, we can see that interesting informations like the equipment he should take with him for the fulfillment of the task, of course, already is implemented. The other parts of the menu is also something that I will not explain in the matter of the few time that we have while we just create the view of the employee in the field right now. So if I right now switch to the mobile application, this would be directly committed live through Leon Jäger in our mobile app, and therefore we can see that in the application on the calendar, this task that we have just created for him is already in his planning. And even if the ones that were yesterday or tomorrow, of course, will be in an overview. Also, the time registration that was already done today and in the previous day in the consumption of the week and so on is something that is also important for an employee in the field to know what has got to be processed in the next days and what has got to be processed in an additional information that he would like to type in probably later after he had a busy day. Right now, as you can see, also the equipments, the companies, and the task as a direct lookup. We would like to concentrate on the task that we have just put it on his occasion for today. And therefore, you can see also some extra informations about the address. We could also jump directly from here to Google Maps or any other card map material to be guided directly to the work area or to the customer. And any other informations that you would like to have here, also the different informations about the time that should be used and so on is of course available. Right now I just check into the task, so the system knows that I have arrived. Normally in a database that would not be allowed because I'm a little bit too far away to fulfill a technical task directly with 125 kilometers being away. But of course, for test purposes, I could right now override it and say, yes, I would like to check in. You could see that I have done so. And probably right now, in a moment before I enter the customer worksite, my wife calls me and I have got to give a weak information, only internal information back to the back office. And therefore, I just entered to the chat menu here. And right now, I could tell my colleague in the back office that tomorrow I have to leave at, what do we say, 3:30, something like that. And we just put that out. And as you can see, we also, of course, have presentations for German customers. Sorry for the leak of the language here, but that, of course, is the information that I'm typing in. If I'm typing in the chat in German, it will remain. Right now, if we are in a task, we could switch to the menu. Therefore, of course, I see the equipment that I have just booked. Then it can also depend if the equipment use is for free or if the equipment use has got to be charged. This is a setup that I will just do directly in the solution. And then, for instance, I would like probably to add a product use. Therefore, I can add directly from the ones that are there or pre-filled. In this case, nothing is pre-filled, so I just select from the storage of my car, of my wagon, that I have the filter kit and the seal kit directly for this task and add it. And then I probably also would like to add some time. Therefore, I can jump directly out of the task again. And even if this were only 2 minutes, right now I could easily just adjust it, and probably was 1 hour 15. So I just give this information back also directly to the back office. Last thing that is not a magical show, but the last thing that is very important is that I could also have different forms selectable for the employee to fill out. And therefore, for instance, the closing form. So just see that I have not switched correctly. So we take the closing form from here. I just have to change that. We have the correct ones to be filled out directly on the task. 1 second. And then we move along from there. So closing form is not on that one. Second for that. And okay. Not 1% sure why the task is not fulfilling this one in English in the moment. This is a bug in this second, but I just would like to move on so I don't take care of that in this instance. Of course, normally also the forms are concretely transferred to the right language. Sorry for that. But right now, when we just fulfill the task, the information is the most important, and therefore I would just process from here. And then if I answer the different questions, if I just will translate it for you right now, on which time I have fulfilled the task, if I have closed the task for which reason. In this case, I just say because it's finished and done. Which kind of service I have done for the task, and if I have already also booked the articles, if I have booked the time correctly. You can see the answers are translated. Don't know why the questions are not doing, but I have just commented that. Then probably there's another information I should give to the customer, and therefore I just say should be checked. Again next week. And then I will just do my signature. Oh. And we did that on 5 o'clock. And I just finished that one. I also can decide that I am not allowed to step out of the task before I fulfill, for instance, the closing form or other forms that are relevant, also with the signature of the customer and so on. And then I am mostly done. There's another thing that I would like to show you in the mobile app, but therefore we will come back later. Right now, we move back to the main system, and from here, I just updated it, and then we're going to see that everything that we have already done on this task is already processed. So the product use, also the hourly use that we have just fulfilled with 1 hour 15 is there, and even more important, also the file with the inspection, with the closing form, is already at the service and is processed as it should be. And therefore, that is the good news on that these informations which are on the task directly could also be processed over the so-called extranet, which is our customer portal, to the customer itself. So if we have a process, for instance, that right now somebody of the Mebes GmbH has got to re-sign this closing form because before the reassignment, the task cannot be closed and invoiced. This is also a process that we could grant for our customers. And as I just have said, that I would like to show you additional features. First of all, of course, the chat functionality, just to be shown that this arrives here at the right person directly to the back office. And also a thing about the equipment, because we have talked about the equipment that is attached to this specific task. Often the equipment is allocated directly to the GPS coordinates. But if this is a wider circuit, like a campus, probably the equipment is not directly at the front door and can be moved directly to the area where it is and where it was installed. I can do it like you have just seen directly here in the system, but sometimes is not precise enough. So even if the example that I will give you right now is not perfectly fitting to the everyday instance, I would just put that away for a second, just show you how the real life looks like. And therefore I will just tell you that I'm a little bit in the south of Hamburg right now. And what I would like to do with you right now is to select the application again, moving out to the start page. And there you can see right here the QR code manager. And if I select the QR code right here, you can see that I have directly entered this equipment. I also could do the service right now, where you can see that the next service is a little bit about to come in next year, so I can just leave that. So right now I just would like to do a installation. Therefore, I just pick it. Probably then in a real life scenario, I have to adapt also extra products to install it at the customer side. But in this case, I would just say it's equipment that I would like to leave at the customer. I'd like to install it at the customer side, and therefore I just let it drop directly where I am. And for the next one coming around right now, when we are back and just actualize the page, and therefore if we move to the equipment again and just let it drop where it is and where I am in the moment, we can see that while we are getting the information directly from the mobile, which could at least take a few seconds, we can see that it will move directly. Probably I just have to open it up again, jump into the topic again from where we have been, open task, going directly to the, going directly to the right task, of course, selecting the equipment, and there you can see that it has moved directly to the area where we are right now. So from there, right now, all the people, also subcontractors, everybody just that is available to meet directly the customer here is able to go directly to the work site, to the area on a larger work site where the equipment is installed, and can process it from there. So last thing is just to get back to the task itself. And I will hand over back to Stefan from there, so he can show you that the product use and the hourly use is directly processed to be invoiced then over SAP.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. Okay, back to the ERP focus. The ERP focus is now in having the confirmation back in the system, consuming the material from stock in order to trigger replenishment if necessary, and to run into customer invoicing if the work is not covered by a contract. If the work is covered by a contract that you close with your customer, okay, then you do the work and you invoice by contract. But if you do it not by a contract, you have to run into invoicing. And that's the focus for finishing the process right now. I would like to show you again the list of dates that we have generated before. And Robin worked on a specific service order, and this was, I guess, this number. And what we see here is the original planning date was in September, but he has replanned it with the scheduling board, and it was now scheduled for November. And also he assigned the service performer Leon Jäger, which is backed by a resource cost rate, which flows into the cost bookings, and the service that he has executed is also backed by a price that the customer has to pay. So if we go in here into the service order, which we can easily do by clicking, and we go to the business flow or the document flow, then we see the service confirmation here comes up. And in this service confirmation, we see the number of hours that were booked and the number of eaches that were consumed, say from the trunk stock or from wherever you get or you consume your spare parts. And now this runs into customer invoicing, and the easy part is it's automatically done. If we go to customer invoicing, the first step the system generates is a so-called invoice request, because the system is able to bundle invoices into invoice requests or multiple of them into one invoice. And here, if we go down to today's invoice request, we see the 3 positions that were confirmed by Robin or by the mobile app. And now by clicking invoicing or handing over this to an automatic step, we can finish this process. And having this invoice in place, this automatically terminates and closes the underlying service order. Last but not least, we can take a look at a report section. And this is then the final step, or this is the final insight for today. I've placed this report that is relevant for planning and having the workload overview on my overview page of the service order. And here a report comes up, which is called a planning report. And you see how easy this reporting section is integrated into the ERP. This is now a graphical overview about all weeks that are coming in the future and all activities like cleaning, maintenance, and measuring that were generated by our preventive measures. And here you see the workload that has to be covered by the planning, which is a complex thing. And yeah, fulfilling this workload is done or was done for one specific service order. And this we will see here. All other service orders are not covered by this one, is covered by Leon, the only one that is assigned. And that is then doing the thing for all the other service orders and having a large workload in your graphical planning table, the daily business and challenge of the plans. Having said that, I would like to redirect to Detlef.
Going back, now we are in the third and last part of our webinar, question and answers. And I have taken a look in our chat, and at first I hope everyone enjoyed the presentation, and I was in hope that we get lots of questions, as we are ready for them. No questions in the chat, right? Okay, one at first, great. One question is the picking based on a certain strategy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Stefan, go ahead if you like to.
Now, I would like to ask a bit more for background of this question.
So we have Anne-Catherine, can you open the microphone for
Yes, one moment, please. I have
name?
to. Yes. No, I think he can unmute himself now.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So thank you guys first for the presentation. It was well structured and well clear. So thank you for that. The integration between the two platforms are pretty seamless, and we can the communication goes in both ways. So that's good. One question I had about the inventory that the maintenance or the service performers will be doing is how those materials or spare parts will be picked. For example, let's say we have a stock of materials which are batch and serialized by numbers, and now I want to do my maintenance. When I will be doing the picking, would the system give me suggestions to what batch or what serialized number should I pick? Or would that be manually maintained based on what I did physically pick from the warehouse?
Yeah, there are some options in the system depending on how the material is configured. Let's explain the most important one. It is really called the picking scenario, also in SAP Business ByDesign. And in the picking scenario, the service order first is created and claims that it needs a part. And this is then a serialized part. If it is serialized, this is part of configuration. But let's say it's a serialized part. Then a so-called ATP check happens. This is an available to promise check. And the ATP check goes more or less to the stock and checks if in general such a part is there. If a part is not there, the ATP check fails and the procurement flow starts. Until the part is there. If the part comes into your system, because of it is serialized, you have to enter the serial number, so we know on stock the serial numbers. Now, the customer demand that is generated from the service order goes to your warehouse managers or to your warehouse people and says, okay, for this specific service order 12381, I need a serialized equipment or a serialized spare part. And then they go and see, okay, there are 3 of them, and we pick the first one. It's not that the system gives them the serial number that they should pick. They pick the one and enter the serial number that they have reserved for the service order, and then your service performer at a certain point in time when the service order has to be executed goes to the warehouse and can, by means of his service order number, gets this or the part is then handed over to the technician. And the technician then uses this part, and after he has confirmed the service confirmation, the part is really gone from this picking stock, and now it is away from stock.
Perfect. So just so I can understand the full picture, we will be doing the planning of the service order on BYD. We'll be maintaining the product, and we will be checking and we'll be assigning a batch number and a serialized number. And then we'll be using the ATP functionality just to make sure that we have that product.
Yeah.
The service order will be creating a customer demand that will, quote unquote, hold or allocate that product, which is good. Yeah. And then we'll be switching to microbus, and then we will be doing the planning and the routing, etc. Yeah. And then once the confirmation is done on microbus, the same confirmation will flow back to BYD to close down the service order that we already planned.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
thank you very much.
That's absolutely correct. Say a slight variation of this is the so-called shipping scenario where you can pre-ship necessary spare parts on the customer's location side.
Right. That will be easier. Yeah. Cool. All right,
and
that will
probably
be it for me.
also
Thank you.
as a short add, if we then see how the product is directly processed in microbus, this means that if the equipment is there and we have the part list added directly, we also can see that from SAP, from the task, from the installation part, it is not only recommended or only attached to the task, but also with the installation part directly to the equipment itself. And this is the part list. If it's only spare parts as a usage for doing the services, of course, that could be done too. Then we just book them and don't attach them.
All right.
Yeah. So from the experience in field service, 90% is non-serialized. It's more consumable parts for doing cleaning, lubrication stuff, and things like that. Absolutely. And there you work often with, say, a safety stock on your van, and if this is going out and is under exceeded, it is replenished automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for all the other attendees, you have also the chance to use the raise button. So put up your hands if you have a question, then we can, or you can only open your microphone and we can talk direct with you. And then thank you at first.
Sure. Thank you. Well,
I hope you have broken the ice.
Yes, very much. And honestly, I was very intrigued by the planning interface that we have on Microbuzz. That is something we always try to have on BYD. We did manage to have some alternatives, but they were so basically so hard to use on BYD, so we dropped those.
Okay. So
if you may, guys, I do have one other question, please, for Microbuzz itself.
you're welcome.
Thank you. So on Microbuzz, does the service performance can get notified by the maintenance that they would be having during the day? For example, I'm logged in and then I would receive, for example, an email or a text message telling me this is the maintenance plan that you have for today. This is the first location, second location, third location. So it will notify me. And another thing, and that's an optional one, if the system can make a routing for me, or if someone can make a routing for me, he will tell me go here first, then here first, then here second, then here third, so it can give me the best routing.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We respect, of course, the critical restrictions like competencies and so on. But if all they are already met by the route planning tool itself, then it's only about the distance between the different tasks to the different occasions, and then the system will directly find the best way for the different people in the team that are responsible to process this perfectly. You could also even integrate subcontractors and things like that. So also driving costs or appearing costs, if a subcontractor is about to drive, that some initial costs could also be resaved. So the own people would be served first, of course. So the setup that we are doing, if somebody is also probably there for overnights, or if somebody has got really have a hard cut for being off, all these things are the adjustments, and from a triangle from the customer side, the cost side, and the employee side, you can put the dot of the setup you would like to have in the route planning system very individually.
Very good. So that can be manual or automatic based on our preferences.
Yeah, of course, the first step is the automatic one. If then the dispatcher has got to oversteer because of customer needs, of course, he or she can do so.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We from all4cloud and also from Robin Microbuzz wish you a good time. Have a good time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.